Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue the conversation on the future of Nigeria, I have with me a young Nigerian up and doing investigative journalist, Mr. Fisayo Soyombo, who had worked with the Cable Sahara Reporters and is now the founder and the editor-in-chief of Foundation for Investigative Journalism, where he has done a lot of tremendous work. Mr. Fisayo, welcome back to Inside Sources.
Thank you, Mr. Akande. Good to be here.
All right, good. I want to ask you today, the main question that I normally ask my guests, if you look at where the country is today, in your own understanding, are we on course to becoming a great country that all of us, virtually agree is the destiny of our country?
I think the answer is clear. There's only one answer, and that's no. You look at how people feel. You look at the mood in the country. You ask yourself what citizens expect the government to do for them. What is the standard, the minimum standard of living, that the public should have? Food, shelter, clothing, transportation. That's the basics. We are not talking about the comfort of life, just the basics, the minimum essentials. Do the people have them? Can people feed? Can people clothe themselves? Many of the people have a good place to lay their head at the end of the day? The answers are no, and that means that looking at the enormity of the human and material resources that we have, that shouldn't be our lot as a country. We are blessed with resources. We're blessed also with brilliant people. The irony is that, the people in government, it's not like they're dull. It's not like they are non-entities. Many of them are smart. Many of the people who have left this country have stolen, have plundered our wealth. But you have to be smart to steal. People think that you don't have to be smart to steal. If you can be smart enough to steal, then you can be smart enough to govern. So we have brilliant people in this country who have occupied leadership positions. Not all of them, of course, majority. You have some people, you look at them and you wonder how they made it into government, But we have the human resource, we have the natural resource, and we are still fumbling as a country.
So sad. And that's what seems to be the dilemma, and in my view, Fisayo, I think we have quite a few fundamental challenges, but I think corruption is high up in some of those fundamental problems. I also think that we need to certainly find a way to restructure the country politically. We have, in my view, we have a system where the states have become something else. We have a situation where the local governments are no longer existing. So there are questions around, the structure of our federation. But I think that the problem of corruption is an equally serious challenge, if not even much more a bigger challenge. What's your own perspective about the place of corruption? And I'm asking you this question because you have done quite a lot of work, that has, taken the issue of corruption, not just from public, even to, not just from leaders, but even among the people, So what's your take about the depth of corruption in our society?
Okay, first of all, I'll rank corruption as high as incompetence. I think those are our two biggest problems. The fact that, you have people who are in positions and don't want to work, even if they have even if they're brilliant, but they're not really interested in working.
But they are interested in the pie.
Yes, and then you have people who just want to steal, who just go into offices, think people win elections or steal elections, and then the happiness is that, yes, their pockets will be filled up. The depth of corruption, sometimes I think about it and it gives me sleepless nights. Because, and I say this by virtue of the kind of work that I do, the fact that I plant myself in places to experience what the average Nigerian, feels. and I see things that I would say quite a number of Nigerians don't know. And the question is, where exactly do we start from? Where exactly the depth of corruption in this country is unimaginable. There's virtually no agency. There's virtually no agency that you can say is standout and incorruptible. Occasionally, you have individuals who are anti-corruption. For instance, there was a time UI Postgraduate School had a dean that was widely known to detest corruption, and it was all over the world. Don't give anyone bribes here. If anyone gives you a bribe, report. So you can have individuals who are shining lights, but essentially our public institutions are centers of corruption. You in court, you want to print a document, you want to file a case, clerks or court officials are expecting you to grease their hands. In prison, you want to visit an inmate, someone who has been sentenced to prison for corruption. The warders ask you what you want to give before you can gain access. The police keep telling you bail is free. We all know bail is not free. In one example, one of my colleagues wrote a story and then about someone who had paid for a service and did not get it, and the police invited him and they were asking for bribes to free him. Even though they saw the name Foundation for Investigative Journalism, the police at Alagmo in Lagos invited the reporter and they wanted him to pay bribes to regain his freedom. So it's horrible. So you look at Nigerian Customs, for example, that was established primarily to combat smuggling. That agency, people in that agency prepare a timetable for smugglers. Oh, the smuggling gang, this group, it's your turn. After this group, then it's your turn, then your turn. That's the agency that was set up to fight smuggling. Wow. And that's the agency that it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn. So next week, it's your turn. Next month, it's your turn. Wow. Look, there was a time we had the challenge of building collapses every now and then. But there's a government agency, Lagos, for instance, that should approve your plan. You can't have, if buildings collapse and the problem is structural, someone approved it, some office approved it. People build and they come to me and they say, look, we are just waiting for approval and they're asking for money to grease our palms. People want to build their own houses and then the plan from the government, you have to grease palms to get to. There's virtually nothing that gets done in this country as smoothly and as quickly as it should without corruption. And it's terrible. It's a big problem.
Interesting. So I share that view, and in my own experience, I think it goes. Yeah, it's quite prevalent, in the public sector, but it goes even to the private sector, and it goes even to the life of the ordinary people, And I think, of course, the responsibility is still that of leadership, clearly, because the people in leadership are the ones that set the standard that others have to follow. So I want to take it from some of the work that you've done, just to give us an update. One of your latest work is actually to try and break into the smuggling ring in Ogun State, particularly Diroko, and then, maybe even Badagry too. What's the situation today?
There's no update other than if they want to smuggle and I tweet before they move, then the work can't happen on that day. So they go back. If they've been exposed, then they lose some days and then they re-strategize and they go again. So maybe they try to do it quietly, hoping that I don't get to know.
It's you that, okay. I thought they were trying to beat the system.
There are smugglers who try to beat the system. Those are the ones who get caught when customs comes publicly to announce that we see so and so. Those are the people who try to beat the system. But there are those who are in bed with the system, and those ones, they don't try to beat the system anymore. They then try to beat the journalists, expose them. I had a funny scenario. Some guys wanted to smuggle and they came to me and they said, so and so person in customs said, you go and meet Fisayo. If Fisayo lets you smuggle, then you have to go. The job that I do. I don't have any favorites. The job is about the public interest. It's about supporting agriculture. The people in those zones complain that government has abandoned them. Then that's why they take to smuggling. But that's not the solution. We have to get the government to pay you attention. But you can't. Smugglers cannot be richer than farmers. We talk about corruption. I have farmers, people who've gone into farming from that zone, who ask me, so convince me that I made the right choice to have gone to school, or to have gone into agriculture and not smuggling. So if you look at the richest smuggler in that zone is a primary school dropout. Invite him to this program, he can't speak for 1 minute. It's a primary school dropout, but he controls billions. And, so we can't continue with that kind of system. So when they came and they said, look, customs said that we have to get permission from you. If it gets to me, I have to write it. That's my job. So update-wise,
tell us. Sorry for a bit. Tell us more about that. That is quite. Is it not mind-boggling that the customs agency? What happened? Who went to them? And can you give us a bit more detail on that?
So someone wanted to smuggle.
Okay.
They gave a timetable. I think it was third on the list.
So somebody wanted to do it with the system.
Because there are different smuggling groups, there are different smuggling gangs. So one gang wanted to move. The head of the gang then came to say, look, customs said I'm number 3 on the list, but the first 2 have to go. So we should get your permission so that they can move. Then it will be my turn. I don't have to say, I'm just a citizen. I'm just a bloody journalist.
That they should come to you.
Oh, yes.
So that we can
So that I then don't write about it.
Oh, okay.
So if I don't tweet about it, nobody gets to know it most. Because really, when I tweet about it, then it circulates and they're like, oh, so eyes are on us now.
So they have to do something about it.
Yes. So the last tweet, they got calls from Abuja saying no bag of rice was crossed. You can see, we are now in the public eye. So they then said, you have to go and meet that journalist so that he doesn't tweet about it, he lets you do. And it was easy for me to do because,
of course,
one gang will go to another, will go to customs and say, we've bribed that journalist, we have the... I've never taken a kobo from anyone to report anything, which means if it's true and it gets to me, then I have to write about it. In terms of updates, you see, there can't be updates because the smugglers are in bed with customs. The most senior people in customs are close to power at the federal level. So it's not just the smugglers. It's not the big smugglers. It's not the foot soldiers of the biggest smugglers. It's also about the people in customs who are high up there, who in turn are very close to the highest people in the land. So how then can you have an update? The House of Representatives in December said they were going to probe, customs and their activities in that region. They announced.
As a result of some work that you did?
As a result of some of the work that I did, and also as a result of the torture of 2 alleged informants by a customs officer and a soldier.
They tortured.
Yes, they tortured them, believing that they maybe were recording a video and they were going to pass to me. Yes, and yeah. So on those 2 accounts, but more than a month later, nothing has happened.
From the house?
From the house. That probe has been killed. As a matter of fact, a platform reported the house saying customs has overshot the revenue projection. So it's then about revenue, what has been projected. In any case, customs hasn't done anything special. It's just because of the fall in the value of the naira against the dollar and how much more people need to pay to import stuff in the country. It's not like customs as an agency has done anything spectacular. So there can't be updates until, the very top. Maybe at some point in the interview, like you said, we'll talk about corruption and what we can do to stop it when we get there. But until the very top is interested, nothing can change.
Can move. I mean, that's a bit of update. So after that big expose that you did on the smuggling situation, the House of Reps, said they are going to do a probe, but this is February. Maybe they are still in the process of doing it. So that's something.
They are not interested in the probe any longer.
To say, well, so now we are talking about it, and they are listening. It would be good to know what is their view about it. And I understand also too. I mean, I've been in government. I understand how this thing works. I understand that if, like you said, if the people at the very top, if they are not interested in dealing with it, and I have made this point myself in some of my take that, look, if we don't fight corruption frontally, then we are not serious, about fighting corruption. I think anyone that becomes the president of this country should be bold enough even if you are talking about interest, look, if you are president, you are president. You call the shots. You can say that, okay, let's draw the line from this date and then let's go forward. And it's my own view that the people that lead us, they hold us that, considering the depth of the problem of corruption, it is very corrosive. It distorts every other thing. I'll give you an example. So since the last time that we talked about corruption, quite a few people have called from Idiroko. Some of the leaders have called and said that, look, let's talk to this Fisayo guy. The people that are here don't have a choice. The ordinary people, they have no jobs. There are no infrastructure. There are no social services. The only game in town in that part of the state, I hope I got the name right, is smuggling. And that broke my heart that so the people in those places have been subjected, condemned to corruption. What do you think about that?
The people who called are even nice. Every time I tweet about smuggling, I get threats. 2 days ago, a lot of comments on my Facebook wall. Your days are numbered. We will get you. Your time will be up soon. But the real issue is that if the government has abandoned those people, then you don't solve a problem by creating another. So they have traditional rulers who get who get paid by the smugglers, and so for them, their pockets get filled. There's no point. You have to make a case for your people to the government. You have lawmakers from that region. So
in the assembly, in the state, in the federal.
Yes. So that's what you should do, to find a way to get the attention of the government to look at those, not to say, because the government has abandoned us, then we have to smuggle. People treat smuggling as just transporting goods and services from one point to another, through the back door. It's a lot more than that. Nobody checks what they put in these cars. No, there is no check. There is no check. What they put in these trucks, nobody checks them. They claim bags of rice, chicken, turkey, but of course, they add other things. When they want to move in guns, arms, and ammunition, it's the same routes.
And you are saying that, so this is talking about those who are embedded with people that are supposed to...
Yes. So when you say, the government has abandoned us, that's no. Light arms and ammunition enter the country through that border. Is one of the main entry points for arms and ammunition, just because smugglers are moving things in and nobody checks them.
And you're sure of that?
It's not the first time that I've said it. It's not the first time. One of the person who tried to bring that in 2022 was arrested. So let customs come and explain why they freed him. Okay.
So what about the one about the child sales?
The orphanage home that sold babies.
What's the progress on that?
Yeah,
can you first of all give our audience a summary? Yeah.
Summary. I got to know that an orphanage home would charge huge sums of money to give kids to people who needed them. And so what I did was track the orphanage home for 19 months. Went in with a woman as though I needed a child, and
this was where? Months, from where to where?
Was from 20. I tracked them from 2021.
Where?
Where? So the orphanage home had 4 outlets in Lagos and 1 in Anambra. I think 1 in another state as well. So from Lagos, they diverted us to Anambra.
Okay.
And then we got the baby.
So you got the baby in Anambra.
In Anambra. The baby turned 2, by the way, on February 6th.
And the baby is still with NAPTIP.
So now NAPTIP has handed the baby to the Ministry of the Youth Ministry in Lagos. And the ministry let me see the baby.
That's the Lagos State Ministry of Youth.
Yes, on her 2nd birthday last week. So they sold me a baby. And then 2 million naira. And I came back with it.
Interesting. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It's important that we keep an eye on this corruption thing because it has a way that it distorts society. And that's why, I'm very, very passionate about it and intend to keep raising the voices. We need our political leaders, especially Mr. President, to pay attention and to say that, look, we are drawing the line. That look, from here, no more. And we continue to nudge him in that direction because, after all, now he's the president. There's nothing left for him to achieve that he has not achieved. It's about his legacy. And that's why we will be talking about the stuff. And, hey, he has more than 2 years to prove to us that he can do it. Thank you so much, Mr. Soyombo, for your work, and thank you for coming to Inside Sources again.
Thank you for inviting me.